Thank you very much for introducing us here on the panel and our topics. So, warm welcome from my side as well in this afternoon. I'm one of the today's representatives of the Savings Banks Group, European Savings Banks Association, and I personally work in, I'm Austrian and work in Austria in the Austrian Savings Banks, which is called the Erste Bank. And which leads me at the beginning to the history of savings, that what my colleague said, that the idea that even people with very low income can save, it's the founding idea of our institute. So normally I don't begin with history, but in this connex I think it's quite interesting. The Erste Bank, the Erste Savings Banks, has been founded by a priest in the year 1819. And I think he had the idea, the first ideas of savings banks has been risen or come up in Great Britain and France and Germany as a question of the first ideas in this age of enlightenments. And he took the idea to Austria, and he said there are he was in the center of Vienna, situated in the center of Vienna. His church, seine Pfarre, and there were very, very poor people, and he had the idea, took the idea that even poor people have to learn to save some of their money, and they save less than others, but every person can save some shillings or some percentage to save. And what's the idea of saving? The idea of saving is to become somehow independent and self-responsible for your life and for their lives. And nowadays, I think we talk more about financial precaution, but I think we should always remind of these ideas of personal independency and personal responsibility, because this could lead to some answers we discussed in the first two panels, the self-responsibility. Yes, and this idea was brought to Austria, and I want to tell you. This is the savings idea in general, and then about 100 years ago, it was also an idea which came from Great Britain. This idea of saving and forming a community in the financial life for special needs we have, or special needs people have, housing. The so-called Housing and Loan Association. It was also, the idea was born in Great Britain and then came to Germany and Austria. And what is the idea there? It's the same. You have to save first, and then you will have the possibility to get a loan or to receive a loan to fulfill your personal needs. And as especially housing is a necessity for everyone, it's also a guarantee of social peace if states or governments or the community has a focus on this. So I want to briefly introduce you. This is the product I want to introduce to you. It's not a new product, it's a very old product, and it's common in many countries. So the idea is that there is a special legal framework. You have to save 5, 6 or 7 years. That depends on the legal acts in the different countries. And then you have a legal right to receive a loan out of this fund, of this collective fund. You have to afford this loan, that's clear, but the thing is that you will get this out of this collective. The idea behind this was not only to save before you can afford something, it was also to how can people be even low-income people get into the disposition to somehow solve their housing problems. And this idea functions better with state involvement, that's clear, because all these legal acts have the idea that you have to put in the money into the system for a long time, 5, 6 or 7 years, and there you have to somehow motivate people to do this. That's one of the answers. What is the perhaps a problem in the product, especially in low interest rate levels like we have now. People don't really want to put their money for a long time to the bank, but however they do it, and in most of the countries where the system exists, you get a state premium from 25% on the sum you pay into the system annually, until the lowest now is in Austria. We just had a reduction because of state budget problems, is 1.5%. So in the situation how we are in Austria, where 66% of the people are part of this program and are Bauspar savers, there you see that's really a product that is accepted by nearly the whole through the whole population. That's not such a problem to have a low state subsidy, because everybody is convinced about the system and he knows it. But when you invent it in a country or come to the market, you need higher state subsidy until people begin to understand and what is the reason for this system and what are the interest ideas of it. Within the European Union, you find the system in 8 countries. The first were Germany and Austria, and you also find it in Czech Republic, Slovakia. Czech Republic has 60% penetration in the population, so also very successful. In Slovakia, I think 25% of the population. And Hungary and Romania is the country where it came to this legal act at the latest, and they have a very low penetration until now. And why? So the idea of saving is possible for everyone. Why special this? Why do I mention especially this Bauspar system? There you have minimum sums that people can pay into the system, which are really very low. So in Austria we have €10 monthly, in Czech Republic €7 monthly, and those are really sums where people are coming and have the possibility to be part in the system. In the last panel we talked very much about fees and fees for the account. That's another question in the saving system, because a saving account is not so expensive for the bank. You don't have so much transactions, and therefore the fees for the account are cheap, even for those people who save only the minimum sum. I looked at the figures we have in Austria, for example, where you perhaps could suppose we have a higher average income than in other countries, than in the Eastern countries. We have 5% of our savers are those who save only this minimum sum, and the next, those who pay €20 per month are nearly 10%. So 15% are those people who really use the chance to pay the very, very minimum sum. And I have found out similar figures in Czech Republic, for example. There they have the minimum sum of €7 per month. And those are 7% who pay this minimum sum, and the double of the minimum sum are 15%. So you really see that, or I think those are only 2 examples, but those are somehow ideas that this is really a good product to begin for low-income people. Yes, why should it be supported? I think when we speak about financial inclusion and when we speak about financial education, it's a product of financial education as well. In Austria, for example, every baby has this contract. It's the grandparents or parents save for the babies, and it should be supported to get it through in the broader population. That's it, and the support, especially at the beginning, as I said before, is necessary, because you somehow have to give incentives or motivate people to give the money 5, 6, 7 years to the bank. And the purpose, the financing purpose with your savings and with the loan you can grant afterwards is normally defined. In most of the countries is defined only for housing. In Austria it's also for education and healthcare. We also spoke about this. And if people take out the money before this 5, 6 or 7 years, they lose the state premium. So this is an additional incentive that they don't take out the money because they see a very nice car in the in somewhere on the street. And it to sum up, the system encourages people to save. It encourages and supports their self-responsibility, and it's from the organization for the state or for the public authority. It's very easily done to give a state premium like this, and you can model or shape the system to all your political programs you have, and it exists in not only in 8 European countries, it exists worldwide, even in China or in India, and there are plans to invent it in to bring it up in South Africa. So it can be easily copied, and I think it's a very easy product to begin with, saving for low income people. Thank you.